Okay, so that is scene one, the briefing. The briefing, if you wish. Okay, so that has been delivered by creepy man who looks. He's got that spy look to him. Okay, so now, what are you planning to do first?
Yes, because what I plan to do first will dictate what happens to the next scene.
Yeah, we bid afterward.
So, I guess this is going to the easy start thing to do is to go through new names that are gathered. So there is almost like the spy equivalent of a public library. Like they've all just kind of generally agreed that there is like a little info terminal that everybody's allowed to use on like a weird bit of timeshare. So he's going to pop over and look up Marco Ventura and deal with the very grouchy librarian.
Okay, so yeah, who wants to take the info terminal scene? Would you? I don't know what the best way to do this is. Do you want to put it on Trello?
I mean, since we also are using Discord to part the curtain, why don't you just kind of decide on what number, and then on 3, just post it in chat?
Yeah, that does make sense. Yeah.
Well, could we not just bid up and start at 1? Who wants to bid 2?
I was thinking blind bid.
Yeah, no, it's blind bid, right? Okay. That's the drama.
Did we say? Yeah, that's blind bid.
Bid high, because we want this one to be slightly shorter.
True. All 20.
Just blow your load in the first scene.
All right, shall I give the 1, 2, 3 for you to post?
I think you should.
Okay, you've got your number.
Wait. I don't have my number.
Counting is hard.
Okay. No. I had to put the number in the keyboard.
Yeah, no, I understand. I'm teasing. Yeah. All right. 3, 2, 1, post. Chris is cheating.
He's having tech issues.
So for everyone hearing at home, we're just posting. Me and Purple posted 2 numbers. You can see Chris clearly typing.
There we go.
Yeah, there
minutes afterwards. Okay.
With 6 points bet. Oh, sorry, Whoa. 6 influence bet. Demetrius is the winner.
Yep. So yeah, we do lose the points.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I will throw that in the search bar because the only place I had to write things.
All right, let's go.
Okay. So
So this library. Where in a spy city is it?
Okay, so there's in Manta there's a weird organization of space. There's a few central places that are really well kept, and most of the civic buildings are there, and most of the it's really close to the launch center and to the hangars and that sort of governmental buildings. And on the southern side of Manta, there's a sort of poor slum sort of area where people just build very hastily. They're very old houses built way before Ecuador has had its revolution, and it's very chaotic in a sort of London before the fire sort of thing. And right between right on the border of these two districts of Manta, between the government buildings and the actual residential areas, lies the library. So it's quite far from the espionage bar and most other locations in the game so far.
Ivan takes a very specific route through kind of like the roads and buildings to kind of get to this location in a way that's it's this weird between of being actively stealthy and I know that I need a specific route, otherwise the front door of it doesn't unlock. So it's kind of a pain. It makes it take way longer to get there.
That's really cool. So unless like the tracking system picks you up doing the route, it just won't open.
Yeah, if you know where it is, that's not enough. You need to
Yeah.
actually go the right way there.
That's really cool. I love that idea. It also kind of ties into that sort of surveillance kind of thing as well.
But yeah, like Ivan just kind of like wanders into the library. It's called a library, but it's probably very light in the way of actual books on visible display. It's kind of a hole, actually. He's quite quiet in terms of making his way in, almost kind of deliberately closing the door gently with his hand manually to make sure that it doesn't make any noise, and then pulling it the last bit of the way. There's a loud clunk clunk as the door locks, entirely ruining the fact that he tried to do it quietly, and he winces in like, shit, he heard that.
So you find yourself in one of the most evident ways that corruption and the Cold War has influenced Ecuador. So the library is pretty much filled with electronic devices, screens, and it's full of PDFs, and the internet is still quite big, and lots of things are read online. But the Ecuadorian government relies a lot on actual humans doing much of the groundwork that computers usually do. So it's full of librarians keeping hard copy files of the actual digital books. So even if certain information is accessible online, there's probably a ledger written in blue ballpoint ink that's doing the bookkeeping. You see a weirdly looking woman. She's quite thin and frail. She's more than 70 years old. She shouldn't be working at this stage in her life. She's really ready to collapse, and she looks at you through thick rimmed glasses, trying to see why you're there.
Hi, good afternoon, Jennifer. Pointedly calling her by her first name. Got some studying to do. Can I use the main terminal? I to be fair, I probably should also use the US facial recognition software if I'm cool to use that today.
The woman replies with a very, very bored voice, like, "Oh my God, these new teachers, they get you kids to do all sorts of weird stuff. When I was your age, we didn't have any of this fancy Spanish education. We just had basic Spanish, and that was it. Go ahead, do whatever you want."
At minute 3 of this kind of like tirade of back in my day, Ivan is like, I'm going to take that as like a yes, and heads over to the kind of like user-friendly terminal. There is a more advanced hackery one, and he's dabbled on it in the past, and then somebody very sternly told him to get off that thing. To which he, wasn't pleased. He learned his lesson. He uses this like I forget the term of when you have to like describe a face to somebody for like a crime report and facial reconstruction,
like photo fit.
Yeah. Using his surprisingly keen memory, basically recreates the face of Marco Ventura, and then uses that as well as Marco Ventura's name, because just searching for the name probably wouldn't turn up very much, and starts to kind of use those two as a base point for some information digging.
Cool. How do we don't bet to resolve stuff, do we?
Nope, this is all you. You get to tell me the bit that I learn about the scene.
Yeah, each of us puts forward our idea, and then Nathan gets to pick which one he wants to take.
Oh, okay.
So we've hit the sort of pivotal point of the scene, is what you find out. Yeah, that's the we each say what we've got, and then you pick which one you want. So does anyone want to present their idea first, or shall I just go?
Go if you have something.
Okay, so
Marco Ventura.
Oh yeah, Marco. Sorry, because the other guy is Larco. He's
There's a Larco and a Marco.
Yeah,
yeah. Sorry.
Larco is the admin. Space Center. I wrote that down.
So yes, Marco Ventura's photo fit turns up. Not a huge lot connected to him, but there appears to be like someone else with the same face, and they don't quite connect. But you're thinking if someone was really like meticulous, they might be able to fake name this.
Oh, okay. What's the fake name that this not Marco has?
It's all from like it's only just under one name, which is Pablo. Okay. It's all stuff from like about 5-6 years ago, like right at the beginning of the revolution. It's in like some like report on like the early revolutionaries.
Okay, cool. What's the next Pete? Who wants to go next to give me their take on what the info might be?
All right, I'll go next. So you find that Marco Ventura is actually first cousin of Carlos Ventura, who is the interim Ecuador presidente, and somehow they are they haven't pretty much they're related. So
they're cousins. Okay, cool. I like that. Well, I won't reveal how much I like or dislike any of these options until I hear all of them.
Okay.
Is that all that we find out for your side of things?
I would say yes.
Cool.
And my one is, you don't find a lot on him in any of the public areas. You get some basic stuff that he existed, had a driving license and so forth. But what you do find on further digging is rather a lot of quite hard to understand scientific research papers. A lot of it you can kind of make broad sense of the summaries, but the actual details are beyond even your fairly impressive knowledge. But it seems to be a lot to do with the creation of artificial minds, artificial bodies. It looked like there was lots of rumors of some kind of artificial soldier program that got shut down, or according to the conspiracy theorists, moved elsewhere during the early days of the Ecuadorian civil war and associated problems. So according to official records, he died in the same events, but again, according to conspiracy nuts, off on the moon or Mars, creating a robot army and all kinds of crazy
already on Mars. Gosh, he's impressive. Oh, that's really juicy. That's a really juicy bit of info, and I really want to pick that one, but also I want to demonstrate the linking bits of information, because Carlos is already a card in my playboard, so starting a link would be interesting. But I do like this kind of conspiracy theory. He's been working on some stuff, so I'm going to open the Marco Ventura card, because that's a fact, and add in a comment, which is Ivan's opinion, that Marco is connected to some kind of AI biohacking warfare. Is that the correct term for it?
Something like that. It seemed to be one of the very broad, high-level things with lots of potential applications if it could be made to work.
It's powerful and complicated.
Yeah.
And complicated. He should be dead.
Cool.
Nice. So that is a piece of information that is now added to that. So I'm
going to add a link.
Finish out the scene for me, and we'll determine where we go next and bet again.
Okay.
Or I guess because this is Demetrius's like influence bit, it kind of makes sense to me that he would help close out the scene before we go back into betting.
Cool.
Yep.
Sure. All right. So you find a good, a well-documented family tree of the Ventura family. You see how Carlos Ventura and Marco Ventura are quite apart, actually, because the fathers have been that were brothers have been having quarrels throughout their lives about the family fortune. The father
doesn't stake much of a claim to.
The father of Carlos Ventura, who's actually the interim president right now, got away with most of the family's fortune, and the father of Marco Ventura just managed to get a small hacienda in rural Ecuador, that he started getting into the drug trade.
And that's no good, kids.
So basically, he's with nothing, and now he and his son Marco are quite. They've built something for themselves, but it's really off the books and out of the purview of the law. While the actual interim president of Ecuador had a great education and that sort of thing, so they're quite at odds right now.
And, the dad must be probably living on their own at this point, since it seems to has panned out from the information, so I picked Chris's option, that Marco is legally dead. So we'll see. He might just be an old man in a farm villa selling cocaine. I think with that kind of like information stowed away, what Ivan wants to do next is start to see if he can get eyes and locations on Larco's whereabouts, because got to keep that boy alive. And to do that, he's going to start to see if he can run into the woman that he ran into outside of the space center, because she looks like a weak link to getting inside. She seemed emotionally slightly fragile in that circumstance, and clearly affiliated with science, so it's a lead. And he heads his way out of the library, actually slamming the door on the way out this time.
Nice.
Right. So we want to bid.
Type your numbers in. Don't hit enter yet.
Chris, type your actual number in.
Yeah,
Get ready.
got it.
I see that you're all typing. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Post.
Oh, so we've got
Is that 5 or 15?
5.
Okay.
Sorry, bad finger.
Okay, so we have a
Tie.
A tie.
Do we have a tiebreaker mechanism?
I guess it's now between you two to between Purple and Chris, if you want to kind of re-blind bet.
We should probably have worked out how you do this and put it in the guidebook.
You can raise. So
Yeah,
basically, both of you raise.
Right, so we take another blind bet then.
Yep, it's on top of that 5, by the way.
On top of Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got this.
Let me just
Okay.
change my number.
3,
Right.
2, 1. Bet.
Oh,
All right, Chris, it's your scene. So with 8 points spent. The turn is
yeah. Oh, that's cleared me out of it.
Yeah, that's taken a lot of points.
You could have just backed down.
Make it worth it.
You could have backed down.
I wanted this. I really wanted this.
All
Right,
right,
Chris.
Okay. So Chris, take me away.
Okay. So you head outside of the library. There's a lot of people outside. It's not long until the election, so there's some actual campaigners, lots of low-level street arguments that are occasionally bursting into actual fist fights.
Oh God.
Lots of big banners and placards for the various people taking part everywhere.
Is Carlos running again? Is he running for the actual position?
I'm assuming so, yes.
Yeah, no, that's
Cool.
That's reasonable.
Just curious.
Yeah, I did see who else is running. Behind all of this, out over the sea surrounding the island, you can see there's the more or less omnipresent storm. It's a fairly nice day today, but it sometimes just lashes in, and all of a sudden there's torrential rainfall everywhere, and everyone has to help out.
All the banners at the moment, even though it's kind of sunny where we are, it's really windy still. So all these kind of like protest and campaign banners are flapping very fiercely in the breeze.
Ooh, that's atmosphere.
Yeah. So, are you going anywhere in specific to try and look for them? Are you just going to...
I think this is going to be a mixture of, detective skill and plot efficiency happenstance.
Okay.
So let's see where will Ivan try and go with hopes of kind of running into. I think there's probably a protest is taking place, and it's blocking off a road. And there is a whole bunch of people who are trying to get somewhere else. That's like it's near a train station. It's absolutely blocking up the train station. It's preventing people from leaving via train right now, which is the point, because protests have to inconvenience people to be effective. And there are from even where Ivan is standing, in terms of being able to see the train station, can see there are a lot of disgruntled looking people on the train station platform, and shall we say that one of them is in a white lab coat.
Okay. You can see that she's, although not with the protesters, she's with a a group of youngish locals, some of whom are kind of on the edge of the protest. They're not particularly taking part, but they seem to be leaning that way.
Mm-hmm.
She's a bit, with them, but not particularly taking part herself, although she's still looking quite nervous and keeps slipping her hands into the pockets of her lab coat.
Mm-hmm. Ivan, casually as anything, kind of like moves up to the young protesters who are standing next to her and starts to try and make idle small talk with them, and being kind of like, yo, yeah, how's it going? It's a windy day. Nice time to kind of stick it to the man. And while trying to kind of, connect with them, is pushing in small places to try and get what kind of alliance that they have, their political leanings, while in mid-conversation without outing himself in the political party.
Okay. They very much seem to be, they're all island natives. They very much seem to be for old-fashioned independence of the island, rather than having to follow, the whims of the various main power blocks, even though it's unlikely they're going to be able to get away. As you're kind of doing this, a couple of the young men there kind of actually notice you. How native do you look?
Oof. Probably not a ton. Like he's there on the daily, or I guess since this is in the town proper and not in Splay City, he may be less directly known.
I think they're like your accent and your mannerisms and stuff.
Yeah, no, the accent
very,
is definitely
very
not local, even though he speaks fluently in the native like dialect, not just language.
Yeah.
He clearly doesn't look from there.
But you sound it.
Yeah.
But it goes away.
Yeah. It might be somebody, as far as they're concerned, he's kind of passing himself off as like he might be like second generation. We moved here. My folks moved here, and I had to grow up in an island city. I like it. I like living here. It's great. Until they pull a face being like, you like living here? What the hell is that? Man, it's alright, but I want to move somewhere it's, cooler, I guess. What kind of I guess what Ivan is trying to find out is how these kids are feeling about the election, and then finding that as a way to make it to direct that then to the lab coat woman, get her involved in the convo. So I guess he turns around and be like, oh, what do you think about the island? You look like you've possibly lived here a while.
Yes, quite some time. The elections are going to be interesting. There's definitely a lot more than many suspect here. She's looking around, looking really nervous and anxious.
Shall we make the what happens next the bit we give options for?
There's one thing that I want to do before we get into the potential things that can go on. Or actually, no. Go and do that now, and my idea can close the scene. That's fine.
Yeah, cool. So my mum was that she gets bundled by a bunch of thugs, one of which looks familiar. Like there's some. I'll like that's the gist of it. Just to keep it snappy. But one of them will be familiar, and you will definitely have a lead to go on there.
Cool,
Chris.
Okay. I was going to go for once she's has a brief moment, she pulls something out from her pocket and slips it to you.
Cool.
And I would say that when I had pretty much had the same idea with Chris.
That's okay.
I assume you can have the same idea. You just get whoever wins gets to choose what the thing is.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. Yes. So you don't get a piece of paper. You get a sort of USB stick.
Okay. I like that while we're trying to keep in conversation, somebody tries and kidnaps her in broad daylight because that's ballsy as hell.
Oh yeah, cool. Right, so the volume gets up. The first you really see is a bottle come arcing over, like past you, like smashes. The youths who've been yelling at some people across the street go for it. There's like that swirl of confusion, and through the middle of it, your expertly trained eyes see like 4 people coming straight towards the woman in the lab coat. Unless you're gonna actually fight them, and there's 4 of them, and they are really quite buff.
I actually what I was going to do was as she looks really nervous, Ivan puts a hand on her shoulder and is kind of like, it's, times are tough, but it'll be okay. And he's planted a tracking bug on her.
Nice. That's awesome. Okay, and also the people you will recognize them. They were in the photograph. At least like most of them were in the photographs. Maybe there's like one guy who wasn't on the photographs.
Ooh, so yeah, there were locals
the Spy City guy
that were in that photo.
Yeah. There's definitely the Spy City guy you recognize. So that's a lead there as well. But yeah, you plant your bug in her lab coat, and she gets bundled. They are very, very efficient.
Okay.
She's round the corner, and you just hear the van screeching off.
I love the like terrible irony of Ivan being like, it'll be okay, and then she just immediately gets kidnapped.
Yeah, that was like
that was intentional, but I love it. It's just so unfortunate for her.
Okay, so I'm assuming you're gonna follow the bug, right?
Yeah. You would think in this kind of circumstance that he would like pull out some kind of phone or computer and activate a tracking device, but he just kind of like closes his eyes for a moment, and the background kind of like fades to black as we kind of like feel that he's in kind of like mindscape, and there is kind of like a ping effect, like it's kind of going on like an echolocation, and then he opens his eyes open. He's like, they're going in that direction, and slips into the crowd.
Yeah, that's really cool. I'm up for sort of framing the next scene, but we need a bid. Okay. Oh man, I used so many points on that last one.
You might be burned out. You might have to let somebody take the spotlight, or everybody else might bet low. Who knows? Are you guys ready?
Yep.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Betto. Yo.
Oh man, yeah. Demetrius is cashing the fact that he had a lot of points there.
Yep, pretty much. I didn't. I bid low. I have to bid again before, so I spend my 7 influence now.
Okay.
Oh man, I lost 4, and I was like, "How am I gonna make it? Am I not?"
Let's go.
Right.
All right. So,
can we set the scene? Yeah. Where are we?
So you run away.
Running after them.
I'm curious. Is this the only thing you do? Run around bikes or skateboards or things like this?
Oh yeah, I mean that's cool, isn't it? What kind of? I think he wanted a motorbike, but his informant foster dad is like, no, you'll actually just enjoy that. So he has a Vespa.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, I can see Ivan in a Vespa. Okay. Right. As you move away, you reach the part of town that you're more familiar with, your neighborhood, I would say.
Spy City.
There is a strong sensation in your head that the particular taxi that you see on your right is very suspiciously slow today. As you're running, it pretty much tries to keep your speed instead of rushing off, and that's very weird.
Okay.
What do you do?
Yeah, I think this is let's tie something in, because this will be fun, and maybe it might change your guys' truths. while following the kind of like getaway vehicle, Ivan relaxes slight control on trying to sense the bug that he planted and starts to pay slightly more attention to the driver of the taxi that's trying to trail him. And there is a point where he manages to kind of get a glimpse of the driver in the reflection of a shop window as they pass.
Cool.
The driver looks strange. Like their head is completely shaved and it looks like they've been marked in various ways.
I would say more than this, you notice that there's a very interesting quality that this taxi has that no other taxi in Manta has so far. It's pristine. It's brand new. There's no scratches. No, it's glossy and shiny. It doesn't look like a proper Manta taxi.
Nice.
Okay. And I think there is a thing of like, oh man, a mixture of kind of like, even though he's technically an interloper himself, other interlopers who are coming in specifically to do spy nonsense kind of gets on his nerves a little bit. It's like, who do these guys think they are, just kind of rolling up in our city and then acting like they're the big boss spies here. And there is a gadget in the Vespa that he poodles around on, because we've not used any gadgets yet, really.
Cool.
This Vespa has the ability to wirelessly link with other smart driving cars and temporarily hijack them.
Cool. Use a spy gadget. Is this going to be the crux of the scene where we each put something forwards?
I think so. I think this little chase scene is where we're at the moment.
Cool. I'm going to go for like he crashes and in the wreckage you see something you really wish you hadn't.
Okay.
I'll go and say that the car stops. He gets out upset and he very audibly shouts a swear word in Russian, like suka bля.
I'm going to go with the car stops as the people inside get out and see you. You then either have to deal with them or run away.
Ooh, multiple people inside the.
What are you going to go for?
These are all very tantalizing. You're very good at coming up with outcomes on the fly. I'm impressed. I am going to say that the car wrecks.
Okay.
Whether it necessarily kills the person inside is a different thing, but
well, the thing is, you've sped up your Vespa. You're getting and moving a bit because if you're going to stop them, then you're going to stop them. But you get into the hacking thing. You kind of press the buttons on the, I'm assuming, console or something.
Yeah, it's like in the control panel of the Vespa. Yeah.
And the Vespa's hacking sequence initiates, and then like it starts to start. It gets the sort of control link thing that all goes green and green and green, and all the little slide across things kind of go across. And then it's like there's the what do you want to do, and you press the stop, and then it just goes red. And the car accelerates out of control.
I'm being counter-hacked, he says, kind of like internally voiceover.
Flies forwards, crunches into a lamppost. Like the whole front of it is just collapsed inwards. There's no way anyone could have survived that. And as you're refocusing on the bug, you're a professional. You've got to get out of there, people. Otherwise, it's going to be super suspicious. And in the rearview mirror, you can just see the door come flying off, and this like absolutely shredded guy. I mean, like shredded as an injured like guy gets out. He should not be able to walk, let alone rip a door off.
And can I also say that his right arm is sparking?
Oh yeah, that's great. Or it's like maybe like the blood isn't the right color. I don't know about going for sparks because of some other stuff we've got on the GM board.
Fair enough.
I reckon his blood is the wrong color.
It's an odd color. I'm into that. What color is it?
It's like this really deep purple.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting me know, because that will change some things about my character as well. Good.
Smoke on the wall.
Anyway,
Wonderful,
right.
mate,
So we're gonna have to quickly go into the next scene. So, what do you do after that? Are you just gonna keep following the bug?
Yeah, no. This is kind of like heading to the final destination of this kidnapping vehicle.
Yeah, totally. So the final destination of the kidnapping vehicle. Now we have our vote. So how much are people gonna vote?
Okay. If you're all ready to do that in 3, 2, 1, vote.
Oh yeah, I've literally used the entire last of my influence for this.
All in.
I've gone all in.
All the way in. Heck yeah.
Right. So you come up to it goes out into the hills. And a little while later, the sort of weird autonomous bit of your memory that seems to just keep reminding you of things. You know, like it's sort of like an eidetic memory, but it's like helpful.
Yeah.
It's
it doesn't. It seems to not actually store useless information.
Did you forget this? It's really annoying because you probably not quite got the hang of how it does things. And I think the priests probably just put it down to divine inspiration.
Yeah.
But you recognize the roads, like you can sort of imagine the aerial map in like almost complete clarity because you've seen the aerial map, and it's the one that leads to Marcos Ventura's father's homestead. Out in the hills.
Ooh, okay. Yeah. No, as we
it's gonna be like late evening by the time they get there. You know, the sun's going down.
It's raining by this point.
Or, you know, shadows over the trees. The wind is still whipping around. There's like flecks of rain, but not like a proper downpour yet. The lightning's distant. You can only just hear the faint rumblings of thunder.
Yeah. So to kind of even though we're in a point where this is a point where Ivan is like ready to kind of like focus and get the job done at hand, because this seems relatively dire, and if he can rescue the lab coat woman, then she can become an ally. But there's still something like buzzing in the back of his head about, hey, did you forget this? Hey, like, so you are behind on calories for today. And he pulls another bottle of Jolt Cola and chugs it, and the voice stops, and he's like, that's better.
Oh man,
what would I do without this? Who knows what they put in this thing?
How many bottles have you got left out of the 6 you got, in case it's important?
This is maybe the third one that he's chugged today.
Cool.
But yeah, he makes his way under the cover of dusk.
Sweet. Towards the house.
Yeah, towards the house. There is like a security panel at the front, because it's a gated manor, like they all are. And he effortlessly gets through
It is gated. The security is way better than the fencing. It looks shabby, but if only an actual spy would notice, like the pressure sensors at the bottom of the gate posts and stuff like that. This is pretty well wired compared to what it looks like.
Yeah, and he's like, I thought, you know, Marco's dad was broke. So...
Yeah, he was. Like, there's no way he could afford, like, you know, military compound level tech.
Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like he had a data security expert in his budget.
Yeah.
So boop 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 boop. Oh, I'm in. That was hard. They should just like not bother putting the security on if they're just going to let.
Yeah, like all the kit is really good. It's just it seems to be installed in a rush or by someone who doesn't really know what they're doing, possibly in secret.
Yeah, you would figure that, you know, at this point they would hire somebody from Spy City, but it's all good. And he sneaks his way up towards the manor house.
So yeah, the house. There are lights on. The curtains are sort of drawn, but there are gaps. You know, they've not been meticulous. You don't see any sort of signs of a guard dog footprints or anything like that. And yeah, you can hear very, very low, and it's difficult over the wind. But you know, people tell you're very good at picking up voices. Or do you want to use your straw?
Ooh, that's also yes. He still has the listening device straw. I think there's also a bit where he notices that there is heat sensing cameras.
Yeah.
IR cameras that down this kind of hallway to where the voices are coming from.
Cool.
And the camera, the like the cinematic camera kind of takes the point of view of one of these IR cameras, and you can kind of see a hazy outline of Ivan, and you
Yeah.
hear him take a deep breath, and the heat signature just goes.
Sweet.
Like
Love
he
it.
suppressed his own presence by just breathing in, and he silently walks down the corridor, presses himself against the outside of this door, slips on the silly straw to his ear, which looks ridiculous, and listens in.
There's the voice that you vaguely recognize as the woman.
Mm-hmm.
And she's talking and she's like really monotonous.
Mm.
And she's describing like what she seems to be describing a building. She seems to be describing like what people are doing, but she doesn't seem to get what's important.
It's just all information.
It's all the information. And you can hear some like there's a couple of people talking to each other and asking her questions.
Mm-hmm.
And it's stuff like just things she's seen. And you realize that given the floor plan that you're imagining, you're thinking it's inside the space center.
Mm.
And then you can hear a bit more about various things of like what is he doing? You know, what is Larko doing?
Mm-hmm.
And she's describing some sort of experiment. And then you hear her say, and I went to look, and suddenly I was outside.
Ooh. Okay. So there's something I want to do. I believe one of the bits and pieces of one of the rules that we've established is if the spy connects some information, those bits become interlinked.
Yeah.
Canon. So I'm going to make some connections.
Okay, go for it.
We are connecting Lab Coat Woman to the series of biotech AI info that was related to Marco Ventura. So her nature is very definitely connected to that piece of information now.
Yeah, cool.
Nice.
Cool.
Let's see if we can kind of connect another piece of information. I am also going to connect Augusto Larco to the counter agent in the car.
Yeah. I know what I'm gonna go for if we make this the crux, because the crux could be you've got a load of information. What happens next?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's kind of good. So let's go with that. Unfortunately, Demetrius has to head off now. So
yes.
It's just gonna be me.
Can Demetrius drop his like suggestion of the crux before he goes?
Yeah,
absolutely. So what's the exact moment of the crux? Is just the monotonous voice?
It's her saying that she was dumped outside and there's a bit of her memory missing.
Okay.
I didn't say that.
Or that she just found herself outside, did you say?
Yeah, and she seems to be like remembering everything up to that. But yeah, and she says, and then I was outside.
All right.
So what happens immediately after that?
Right. I am gonna have my idea is the counter agent, but like who's limped the entire way here, has finally caught up with you.
Okay, Demetrius.
She bleeds this deep purple fluid from her eyes.
Okay. Chris?
Okay. I'm going to go for, as you hear this droning voice, it seems to begin interfacing with some of the tech you're wearing and doing weird things with it.
Ooh.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
So, what are you gonna go for?
I think I'm gonna go for the remote interfacing.
Yeah.
That's pretty rad. So Ivan memorizes the information that the lab coat woman has said because she talked about her penetration into the building, and he's like, that saves me so much work. So he's gonna memorize that information, but he breathes out, and his IR presence is no longer dampened for a small period of time. So let the chaos break loose from him dropping his guard.
Cool. Chris, take it away.
Okay. So as you breathe out, your body suddenly starts being warm again. All of the nearby cameras, suddenly you hear the mechanical whir as they pick up your heat and begin focusing on you.
Mm.
Normally you'd be able to rapidly move away again and re-establish your coolness.
Mm-hmm.
But as you hear this deep, droning voice, it seems to spark some weird, almost kind of lack of control, lack of instincts in you, as you kind of just really want to suddenly take a deep breath, yawn, relax. It's really hard to concentrate on like your normal spy duties and work. You can't think of anything else you want to do other than maybe just chill out, well, relax, take some stops here. As from nearby you hear warning klaxons and alarms go off.
Yeah.
With sudden footsteps as guards begin to, well, probably not a huge number, but as guards begin to make their presence known.
Oh gosh. Right. I say, if I may make a suggestion, the lab coat woman steps into the hallway separately because she's like, I've detected something, and she walks out and she's like suppressing target or something like that. And they come, because he's immediately standing outside the door, they come face to face for a couple seconds.
Yeah.
And there is some tension in the air. And then Ivan unscrews the cap off another bottle of Jolt Cola and just throws it in her face. Not really knowing why that would be a good idea. It just felt like a sensible thing to do at the time. And then he maybe kind of gets a little bit more of his wits about him and starts to kind of scramble his way out of the building. And then while doing so, being like, stupid, that was so dumb. Why did I think that was a good idea? Now I've lost.
Beautiful.
But yeah, he's frantically scrambling back out of the building while cursing himself.
So we've had our egress from the building. So do you reckon what do you want to do next? Do you think you've identified who's threatening the safety of this person?
Yeah. I think the information now gathered about kind of like they've sent the lab coat woman to go and find Larko within the building.
Yeah.
Would suggest that is where Larko is. So the easiest way to protect someone is to be where they at. So he's now going to use this information that he's gathered to
do your own infiltration.
Yes. I think we're reaching the denouement of our adventure at this point.
Yeah, I think we've got I think we can hit the last scene if Chris is happy with it. Chris is the only one with any points left. So.
Yes.
So yeah, this is your scene. Go for it.
Okay, so you're heading back towards the space center in order to try and basically find out what's going on. Okay. So you make your way easily enough to the space center. The final vote for the election is, well, everyone's in the middle of voting. So there's lots of shouting and activity in town as everyone's trying to get their vote out or possibly try and prevent other people
getting out,
having the opportunity to vote. As the storm out at sea looks even closer now. And they're predicting that it won't hit for a while, but obviously a lot of people are kind of hoping it won't do anything until the election's over.
Cool.
But you make your way back towards the space center where, well, thankfully, due to all of the election and the storm and everything else, the security is a bit understaffed, and especially as you know the best way through, it's easy enough to sneak into the main area within it.
Yeah. The interior is, I guess, way more luxe than anything else in this city.
Yes, it's all kind of lots of Art Deco style brassy decorations.
Ooh,
a lot of money was poured into it to show we're awesome and can afford to put our money into fancy scientific research centers, even if it's possibly not the best use of money. As you get further inside, there's kind of the public facing area you're leaving, where there was lots of museum style display models, that kind of things. You get into the more secure areas, you can see there's scientists in here working on various things, the kind of super science big vats of green goo that bubble and spark occasionally.
Standard.
Yeah, standard scene setting. As you travel along, you see that there's quite a lot of almost brain kind of brain electrical measurement things, all of the lines beeping up and down, but they just seem to be hooked up to all of these vats rather than to people.
Oh, cool.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Also huge amounts of, well, as you're going past one inventory area, there's just huge stacks of Jolt Cola all stacked up, which
Oh shit.
even for a place with a cafeteria, that seems to be a bit more than you'd expect.
Yeah. Oh man.
It's beautiful.
That's great. Yeah, no, Ivan absolutely steals like 3 bottles of Jolt Cola. Just straight up before trying to do anything else. And then he doesn't even know why he needs it. Like he's got another 2 on him. He doesn't need this much cola.
Instinct.
But
Yes.
on reaction, he's like, oh, important. And then the next thing is to try and find where the kind of like a head office room is.
Yeah, you've got directions from what you memorized earlier.
So we kind of make our way, remembering this time to make sure to hold his breath in kind of line of sight of security cameras. His way up to the head office of the Space Center.
So yeah, you get to the Space Center head office. Is this where we do our crunch scene?
That seems appropriate, yeah. I'm thinking it's kind of like
Yeah, no, this is the point where the truth is revealed, I suppose.
I'm thinking it's kind of like an underground command century thing.
Oh yeah, it's like the
Lots
big
of-
bunker thing with the view of the launch pad.
Yeah, you would think
Yes.
it would be up, because in like, in skyscrapers, the head office is always all the way up there, but this one is actually in basement 7.
Yes.
Like it's more nuke-proof that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Or if the launch should go wrong.
So yeah, my idea is that Lab Coat Woman gets in, and you escape with Larko, and then you find out the truth of the experiments.
Right. All right. Somebody read Demetrius's?
That's my idea, and well, we don't know what Demetrius's was going to be.
Oh, he didn't actually write it down on the GM board.
Well, it keeps changing, so we've got.
So the version that he's got doesn't have this born in mind.
We've got some ideas. I've got some ideas on what he might have been doing, but I genuinely couldn't say what he'd do right now.
Okay, that's all good.
Yeah, my idea was going to be fairly similar, rather irritatingly. Basically everyone else is there or comes in, but then you discover that the AI / biogenetic research they're actually doing here into making artificial brains and artificial intelligence, and then it's the choice of either try and blow it up or try and save it.
I see. I think I like the drama of escaping with Larko in a hostile base, so I'm going to pick that truth. If that's okay.
Okay. So you've just you've got to Larko. You can see him. You can see a couple of other people. They are opening they're about to open a bottle of champagne. What with the voting and everything, to the new election, to the new regime, that kind of thing. When you can hear you hear that guy, the security guard that you snuck past like about a minute ago.
Sure.
You're pretty sure that's him you heard hit the floor.
Oh.
With a gurgling scream.
And then, Ivan whirls around to see
Lab Coat Woman, and her her she's just got like a handed like a sort of knife sort of palm thing, and it's covered in blood. Not her blood.
No.
There is like the purple like ichor like dripping from her eyes, and like you can just see like as she walks past she walks towards the cameras and they explode.
No,
she's like walking at a reasonable pace straight towards you.
Yeah, something kind of like it doesn't. You don't need to recognize the small changes in facial micro expressions or have a passive detection of other people's heart rates. Surely every teenager can detect people's heart rates. That's like ordinary.
Yeah,
right?
Totally. Yeah.
But he doesn't need that information to know that shit's about to get real. Yeah. So,
her heart rate is probably in the couple of hundred. Like her blood pressure is obscene. You can see the veins moving.
Yeah, and he like
she like with her other hand, she throws aside an empty bottle of Jolt Cola as she's juiced up for the confrontation.
Yeah, Ivan Lovelace adopts a Taekwondo stance, and they have a rad fight scene.
You have the like the bit where you just smash together and like the tiles crack below you.
Mm-hmm. Oh god, yeah. No, the
you probably didn't know you could do that.
Mm-hmm. There is like a solid high kick that Ivan does to kind of meet a kind of cross chop blow from the lady in the lab coat, and there's just a solid.
Yeah, Larko's like trying to get security down here, stuff like that. As you hold her off.
Oh yeah, the impact of that is definitely heard in the celebration room.
Oh yeah. Like at one point, like she will kick you back into the glass doors, and they're gonna smash. Like just like you get up in this rain of glass, like brush it off your shoulder.
Yeah. He skids like a good couple meters and then kind of dusts himself off. It's like, I liked this jacket.
Yeah. You don't think you can hold her off indefinitely?
Yeah. No. He kind of like looks round at the aghast faces of the various business people who are in this bunker. I guess they're currently live streaming the election results.
Yeah. As you can see, like there's sort of there's sort of cameras of like rioters and stuff. There's like early results that are saying that the current president has actually won.
Ooh.
But basically, that like people are like, there's all a pundit saying you can't trust those results. It's they're definitely rigged. We've got to wait for the count. That kind of thing.
Yeah, I think this is Ivan entirely wordlessly kind of like walks up to Larko, offers his hand, and says, "Congratulations."
So let's get we need to get out of here.
And yeah, she's
running towards the doors at the moment.
That then whirls round into almost basically like bundling Larko over one shoulder.
Yeah,
and he starts sprinting out of the building.
Yeah, holding Larko, who's not like pretty old guy, not exactly the sort of person who's going to be running many places.
It's very.
The problem is the exit's kind of blocked off. Well, the one you came in, but Larko's like. Basement 5.
Sure.
So we're basement 7. It's like, he'll give you directions. He's like, look for the red door.
Upon trying to exit the room, with the lady blocking it, Ivan picks up a bottle of champagne and shakes it like with superhuman kind of like speed and vigor, and then just douses the lab coat woman to kind of block her line of sight and hopefully knock her off balance as they charge past and start to make their way up a labyrinthine set of steps to the 5th floor.
Like her combat reactions seem like really fast, like really perfect, but her actual she doesn't seem to respond to the unexpected well.
Yeah.
It kind of she kind of like you get the feeling she's like tracking the cork like it's a bullet.
Yeah.
You see her hand like shift to grab it, but at that point you like shoulder barge her like slightly off her feet. And get past, and like you just leave her. She's like turns around, she's just holding the cork, like looking a bit confused.
She throws the knife that she's carrying, and it like narrowly misses and slices the side of Ivan's cheek open as he continues. He ignores the fact that he's now bleeding as he makes his way up to the 5th floor.
Yeah, cool. You're on the 5th floor. You can hear the noises from security upstairs. There seems to be a gun battle going on.
Oh Christ Almighty!
You get to the 5th floor, you get to the red door and you open it, and inside there is like a big sort of think of like a big electric chair type thing with like a person stood in it. They've got like all sorts of probes.
And
like the top of their heads kind of like their brains exposed and
yeah. This is some Get Out shit. Jesus Christ.
You get to there and like Larko's just like cola now.
Rummages around and pulls out the 2 remaining. Well, actually, he's now got 5 bottles of Jolt Cola.
Yeah, there's a crunch on the red door, and it's starting to. It sort of bends in a bit. You can sort of see some fingers, like just through the gap in the door.
What do you want me to do with the cola? Aside from
Feed it to him.
All right. He kind of goes over and says, "This was mine, but hey, whatever," and just kind of like pours it initially gently kind of tipping it into this person's mouth.
Yeah.
And then just basically
faster. Yeah, the door starts to like.
Yeah,
collapse.
no, he's basically waterboarding this guy with cola right now. It's miserable.
Chris, what's the activation phrase that Larko says when you're both stood next to the guy?
Oh god. Unit 14 activate.
So it's Unit 14 activate, and then you're outside. You and Larko are outside.
Oh,
you can see you're like on that little hill next to the perimeter fence.
Mm-hmm.
You can see like fire, and like some people appear to have ram raided the space center.
Mm-hmm. It's also tipping it down at this point.
Yeah, it's absolutely lashing it down with rain. You can see like the fire, like, you know, coming up through it. You know, the wind is howling again. There's lightning above you, and that's the end of my scene.
Yeah. I think a little bit of epilogue. Ivan has a killer headache.
Yeah.
Appearing outside, and he kind of clamps his hand to one side of his head to be like, "Oh God, ow!" and removes his hand, and his hand is stained with like some kind of dark purple substance. And
Cool.
He looks at that, stares at it, and kind of like Macaulay Culkin like screams as we smash cut to credits.
Awesome. So the last little bit is the debriefing.
Mm-hmm. Post-credit scenes.
Yeah. What's the post-credit scene? Are we gonna? Where does?
I think both of you can do a post-credit scene, and then I'll do one.
I was gonna finish off with you, like meeting the informant again.
Yeah.
So does someone want to go before that? Because it might be worth wrapping a few things up before.
Oh, okay. Chris, is there like a post-credit scene of this complete chaos that we've now kind of instilled upon this tiny island?
Yeah. So away from where you are, the rest of the island is basically torn apart. Well, there's all the chaos of the election. Then there was all sorts of rumors suddenly spread of what was going on at the space center, with all kinds of crazy stories. Well, not so crazy stories about illegal research and clones and God only knows what else.
Are these like newspapers spinning across the screen, giving
or probably like web pages, given the slightly high tech level. But,
cool.
All kinds of crazy stories as basically everything goes to hell.
Nice.
Well, do you want to go next, or shall I? I can do a slightly different one if you want.
No, I think I want to this kind of like resolution of meeting the informant again.
Okay.
For the final scene, because go for it.
So yeah, he's there. He's not wearing his priest outfit. He's wearing a far too formal business suit to be standing on a dock.
Mm-hmm. Ooh. Well, he's alive.
And you're watching a boat sail out into the harbor, and Larko's on it, bound for America.
Yeah.
And he turns around to you, and he just hands you a small paper envelope. It's got some weight to it, as promised.
Yeah. Open it. There's I'm guessing there are some plane tickets inside.
There's slightly better. There's an Egyptian passport.
Ooh.
With your face on it.
Yeah.
And that was going to be my ending.
Yeah, no, that's great. So there is the kind of camera kind of goes up to the sky. This day is clear that the
nice.
is escaping. So it kind of cuts up to the sun, and it pans back down again, and we're in Cairo.
Cool.
In a kind of like a souk cafe kind of thing. The kind of like directors and setting designers have gone all out, and it's just all like expensive looking cushions and elaborate Moroccan tiling.
You're basically chilling out and enjoying yourself.
Yeah. No, he kind of like sits. He's sat at one of the tables outside, and a waitress comes over and is like, "Oh, how can I serve you? What can I get you today?" And Ivan responds in perfect Arabic, "Do you have any Jolt cola?"
Oh, brilliant!
roll credit.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
Hey.
Awesome. Well, I it was a slow start, but I think once we worked out kind of what we were doing a bit, then it really kicked in. So thanks for playing, and thank you listeners at home for listening. We've been Roll on the Adventure. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.